Call to order the council meeting, July 24th. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Present for the successor agency, City Council, and Housing Authority.
Any persons wishing to address the City Council and successor agency housing authority on any item on today's agenda may do so. Item 1, CSA 1 and 8.
Warrant registered.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members, successor agency members, and Housing Authority members: Dotson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Mayor, the next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider placing delinquent refuse and sewer accounts for the direct property tax assessment.
Notice of the hearing been given in a time.
Notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have there any communications been received?
No communications have been received, Mayor.
Pulling my mic down. Is there a staff report? Mr. Sparza. Ms. Quakey, welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here to present a public hearing to place outstanding delinquent refuse and sewer charges on the property tax bill for collection. The majority of Inglewood residents and businesses receive water, refuse, and sewer services from the city, but approximately a quarter of the city receives refuse and sewer services only, and water is provided by an outside agency. For this section of the city, there is no mechanism to enforce collection of refuse and sewer fees. The County of LA mandates that refuse and sewer be provided to all residents and businesses for health and safety reasons. Since the collection of refuse and providing of sewer services is mandatory, the County of LA allows the city to hold the property owner liable and place these fees directly on the property tax bill after they have been properly noticed and a public hearing has taken place. As of May 31st, there were 320 delinquent refuse and sewer accounts with charges in excess of $250 and past due more than 90 days. The total outstanding amount of these amounts represents $161,438 of uncollected revenue. Each year, the city receives delinquent refuse and sewer accounts and submits them to the County of LA for placement on property tax rolls for collection. Full collection of these outstanding charges prevents utility customers who are in good standing from having to subsidize the service delivery costs of others. The proposed 2018 year lien list contains residential single-family, multi-unit apartment buildings, and commercial properties. The Customer Service Division of the Finance Department has provided copies of tenants' delinquent utility bill notices to the affected property owners, as well as hearing notices in both English and Spanish. As in past years, the Finance Department works directly with property owners to resolve issues concerning their delinquent accounts through the hearing date and will continue to work with customers to resolve their delinquent balances even after the liens have been submitted to the County of LA. As of today, the Finance Department has worked with 59 property owners to have them removed from the lien list. 55 have satisfied payments, 3 are new owners, and 1 is in dispute. The total is $23,317 for a new total of $138,121. We look forward to working with any additional property owners that would like to resolve their issue directly.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public present who wish to address the council on this matter? Close public comment. Is there a council question or motion?
So moves items 2 through 4.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members: Dotson.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Now, Madam Clerk, the PH 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for the various maintenance districts, Morningside Park, in-town maintenance, street lighting, and Darby-Dixon maintenance. I want to call them all at once, so when I ask the next scheduled matter, I want you to call all those through PH 5, and we'll have a group discussion if the public wants to comment.
Yes, sir.
So, Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Mayor, the next scheduled matter, handled collectively, is a public hearing to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for the Morningside Park Maintenance District, Assessment District Number 1974-2, for the assessment of the In-Town Maintenance Assessment District Number 1975-1, for the assessment for the Inglewood Street Lighting Assessment District Number 1980-1, and for the assessment for the Darby-Dixon Maintenance Assessment District Number 1987-1.
Has the notice of these hearings been given in the time, form, and manners required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given, and affidavit is on file for all.
Have any communications been received on any of these assessment districts?
No communications have been received on any of the assessment districts.
Okay, Mr. Fields, is there a collective report on these assessment districts?
Yes, Mr. Lewis Atwell, Public Works Director, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Mr. Atwell.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here today to recommend that the Mayor and Council conduct a public hearing to receive public input and adopt the attached resolution approving the engineer's report and ordering the assessment levies, which remain unchanged compared to years before, for the Morningside Park Maintenance District. I'll make each one brief. I didn't summarize them, but I will make them brief. Thank you. Just real quick, an assessment district is a special entity sponsored by a local government agency, such as a county or city, as we are, we're a city of Inglewood, where a tax or fee is imposed on a property or a group of properties owners that directly benefit from enhanced maintenance or public improvement. So essentially, it goes above and beyond our typical services within the city. The Morningside District is located in the city of Inglewood, and it's bounded by West 84th Street, north of West Manchester Boulevard, west of South Van Ness Avenue, and east of Crenshaw Drive. Funding is provided for the construction of maintenance parkways, parking lots, medians, decorative lighting, landscaping, and other incidental improvement activity. Services are provided 4 days per week in this case. The annual assessment for Morningside District, which only affects parcel owners in the district, has remained constant at $86,245 since fiscal year 92-93. During the 16-17 fiscal year, the costs were about $153,000 to maintain that district, which resulted in a general fund subsidy of $67,000. To get to 18-19, we're projecting that the maintenance district will cost about $160,000, and so the general fund subsidy will be about $72,000.
Is that collectively, or is that a thing? That's just the one?
That's just for this one. So I'm going to head to the next one.
There we go.
Again, the staff recommends that we receive public input adopting the attached resolution. In this case, it's for the In-Town Maintenance Assessment District ordering the assessment levies. The In-Town Assessment District, number 1975, is located also within the city and is bound by South and North La Brea Avenues, west of South and North Locust Streets, south of East Regent Street, and north of Kelso Street. And this district provides tree trimming, street and sidewalk maintenance, sign replacements, placement of pavement markings, and other incidental improvement activity. In this case, the services are provided 2 days per week. The annual assessment for the in-town district, which only affects those parcel owners in that district, has remained constant at about $72,000. For fiscal year 2018-19, the projected cost to maintain the district is nearly $240,000, with a general fund subsidy of about $165,000. Staff proposes that the service levels remain the same, And by not adopting the levy, the maintenance cost described previously would be subsidized entirely by the general fund. And that's true with the first one as well. Again, staff recommends that City Council and the mayor conduct a public hearing, adopting the attached resolution, and engineers report and order in the assessment levies remain unchanged. In this case, it's for the Inglewood Street Lighting Assessment District. This district also provides landscaping maintenance activities, and they include tree trimming, safety training for the tree trimming employees, responding to city requests for emergency downed branches and trees, weed removal in the medians, and repairing tree-related sidewalk. For this year, coming up 2018-19, it's expected that the cost for the Street Lighting Assessment District remain about the same at $3.7 million, resulting in a potential general fund subsidy of about $1.3 million. The engineer's report recommends an assessment levy of $2.43 million. Staff proposes that the service levels also remain the same, and again, by not adopting this levy, the maintenance costs described previously would be subsidized entirely by the general fund. And then the last district is Darby-Dixon Maintenance Assessment District number 1987-1. Staff recommends that the council conduct a public hearing to receive public input, adopting the attached resolution, approving the engineer's report, and ordering the assessment levies, which remain unchanged compared to years before for Darby-Dixon Maintenance Assessment District number 1987-1. The Darby-Dixon Maintenance Assessment District number 1987-1 is located in the city of Inglewood, and it's bounded by West Century Boulevard on the west, north of west of 104th Street, west of Crenshaw Boulevard, and east of Club Drive. The district was formed in 1986 to provide funding to upgrade and maintain existing public improvements to streets, sidewalks, parkways, alleys, and general landscape maintenance. Street sweeping services in this district are provided twice a week, and the maintenance of alleys and parkways occurs about 3 times per week. The annual assessment for the Darby-Dixon district, which only affects parcel owners in the district, has remained constant at $66,712 since 1992-93. For fiscal year 2018-19, the projected cost to maintain the district is $131,366, which may result in a general fund subsidy of approximately $64,653. Staff proposes that the service levels and assessment levy remain unchanged as compared to the previous year, and by not adopting the levy, the maintenance costs described previously would be subsidized entirely by the general fund, or the services would be reduced significantly or eliminated. And that's true with all of them. And that concludes my report.
Are there any persons present wish to address the council on this matter? Since it's a collective assessment discussion, we'll allow 4 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Sombrano, and I can't help but notice that it was considered a good thing to cut down on time. And I'm not sure, the guy who has another job isn't here at all, so we're not impacting his lunch period. But I find it interesting that we're sitting here saying the price should not be changed a lot because we're doing the same thing. You failed to point out you ripped out a lot of the trees that need tree trimming. Many of them are not there, and therefore we shouldn't be spending money on tree trimming for the non-existent trees. We have, yes, you can shake your head. Anybody who drives in this community knows they're not there. They can see the palms replacing them. And since you went there, I will go ahead and let you know that I find it abhorrent that the 300 broadleaf canopy trees that California Conservation Corps came in and put in were put in all near Mr. Kroenke's property, not the community's properties. How sad is that? But then getting back to some of the other items, the street sweeping, when I ask some of the residents how often their streets get swept, they're not saying 2 and 3 times a week. So maybe we should make sure you're monitoring that a little bit more carefully.
That will close public comment. Is there any? Hold on. Is there any council comment? Councilman Franklin.
Citywide. And as a consequence, there's an extra service being provided at an extra fee. And that's why we have these 4 special assessment districts, and the owners of the property pay a certain fee for that services, which is over and above the general service that is received by the rest of the residents. In addition to that, there's a time when, and I'll speak specifically for Darby-Dixon, that there's a special need for maintenance in that area, as well as the trees and the frequency of street sweeping in a concentrated, populated area. And I personally want to thank Mr. Lewis Atwell for his due diligence in our many discussions we had, because I had some concerns regarding the assessments. And thank you for bringing to attention that the value had slightly increased because of the cost of living, to be able to account for why we do have this increase, but also the maintaining of service is still constant as it has been since the initiation of the assessment. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Morales, District 3.
Thank you, Mr. Atwell. Like Councilman Frankton said, obviously this was agreed upon by the owners there originally for the extra service. When it took place, there wasn't that forward thinking, right, that the cost would go up and the service, in order to maintain the service, the cost would go up and maybe attach itself to that cost, right? It never happened that way. So we've been subsidizing it from the general fund for a particular group of residents, an extra service that folks had agreed upon, agreed to pay it themselves, but now that the cost has gone up, now the city's general fund has actually been subsidizing that only for those group of people. And the reason I say that is because at some point, first of all, how long has it been going on that we've been subsidizing it?
So since Prop 218 has come into existence, it used to be you were able to increase, the city was
Right.
able to increase it on a yearly basis based off of CPI.
I know, but I want it on record.
But
So it's-
now, because of Prop 218, you have to go through a process where
basically it's around 1986, right?
1992-93 is really when Prop 218, and we also have Wildan Financial here if they want to come up and
What I
fill.
want to do is kind of paint the picture that says that, you know, as a city, we're going to have to make what will be a tough decision, right? To go back and have the type of hearings and have the type of initiatives, whatever we need to do to stop really forcing that our general fund gets impacted so much when the benefit is to a few. That's where I'm headed on it. So we've had this discussion over the years. We're starting to become a city that can make those kind of changes in a responsible way. Much like, I mean, for so long, we were a city, and this is kind of a side thing, but our CDBG, we would use it to do work that other cities have general fund money to do. And so we have to start becoming that type of city. So I understand why we're doing this. I understand we need to do this, but I wanted to clarify for the public that, you know, coming up, we're gonna have to start making those decisions because we can't do without something we've been used to for so long. So I just wanted to put that on record, Mayor, that's it,
And a record you have made.
a record.
Any other council comments? Is there a motion?
Adoption for all PH2, PH3, PH4.
So moved.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson, Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Mayor, the next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider approval of the draft fiscal year 2018-2019 annual action plan for submittal to the HUD Los Angeles Field Office.
Has the notice of the hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law? And do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and an affidavit is on file.
Have there any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report, Mr. Fields?
Mr. Cecil Flannery, HUD Manager, will give the staff report.
All right, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of the public hearing is required by HUD for us to obtain citizens' participation as well as your approval for the proposed, not only the citizen participation plan, but as well as proposed annual action plan. But I do have a correction to the action plan. It was pointed out by Councilmember Franklin. So on page 19 of the action plan,
Would be the one to do that.
so I've learned. So on page 19 of the action plan, I want to note for the public and the board that there's a value of a carryover amount which is reflected in program income column of $200,000, and it should be $282,336. And likewise, in the staff report, under 20% of administration funds for the community development block grant portions of the grants, instead of reading $277,349, it should read $299,584. And okay, so I'll get to our citizen participation plan. So our citizen participation plan had a 3-component process, which involved 6 community meetings throughout the city, 1 in each council district, and also 1 here in City Hall. We also mailed out surveys to all the residents of the city, and the surveys were also available online. And finally, this public meeting we're having today, or public hearing, I should say. The survey has identified the following top 5 priorities, 1 being street improvements, which was the highest one. Public safety and anti-crime was number 2. Homeless services and shelter was 3. Affordable housing was 4th. And then finally, neighborhood services, trash removal and debris and maintenance of vacant lots was 5th. Today, we received about 550 written surveys. And this is indicative of the response we've seen thus far. We do have some that are online that we'll take in consideration as we finalize the action plan. And based on what we've received and read thus far, we are prioritizing, and as reflected in the documents that you have before you, on the CDBG side, we have $1.4 million, $197,000 and 920 cents, or 920 cents, $1,497,000 and $920. 33% of that we will be using for housing programs to increase the inventory of affordable housing. We'll use 17% for code enforcement, 13.5% for public services, 14.5% for public facilities, which include the park improvements. And let me go back to the public services include senior meals and the summer camps. 20% will again go to staff costs and administrative coverage, and 2%, which is going to go to homeless public services. On the home side, we do have some carryover amounts, so I don't want this dollar amount to stagger anyone. We have about $6,298,000 and $592, and of that, we'll use about 83% for multifamily construction and or rehab. We'll use another 13% for rental assistance programs, and 2.5% for community housing development organizations. And this would be to leverage partnerships with them to develop more affordable housing. And then finally, 1.5% for program administration.
Thank you. Are there any persons present who wish to address the City Council on this matter? With that, we'll close public comment. Are there any council comments about the...
Comment, Mayor.
Councilman Franklin, District 4.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Fields and his staff for my inquiries, that we're all on the same page as a team to make sure that we properly submit our records before HUD. I think it's very critical because our programs have been jeopardized in the past, and now having it back on track, I'm glad to see the staff is staying on top of it, particularly with the sharp pencil that is needed to make sure we keep all our records. What is also important to me is being prepared for the 2020 census. As the previous chair, on behalf of the council's direction to serve in the 2010 U.S. Census, we found it critical that those that are homeless, very low income, can be difficult to locate, when in fact it's those services that they depend on the most through these programs such as we're doing now. So with the current U.S. president identifying that one of the key items that's going to be asked on that survey is that, are you a U.S. citizen? there's a concern about a lot of pushback and no accountability or account for the completion of the application, which will have a domino effect with our revenue stream that we may need for the funding through HUD. So I really must gear up that we need to start getting started now for the preparation for the census count and engage the LA County and the federal government getting ready for that practice. On that note, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
I move approval for items 2 and 3 if there's no other
Second.
comments.
Before we go forward, I had one question.
Sir.
The compilation, the summary of comments, is it indeed a summary, meaning there were many more, and that these represented comments that came from X number of people, or is this every comment that was made?
This is based on every written comment that we have thus far.
Oh, so this is what everybody said.
We may have, to throw a percent on it, maybe another 5 or 10% that's out there that we will absolutely take in direct consideration.
All right.
I think this is indicative of the direction that the citizens want the funds to be prioritized.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I made the motion.
Been moved in second.
Am I that? Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Consent calendar. Items 2 through 8.
So move. Second.
Madam
Take your pick. Yeah.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Just one quick question, Mr. Fields. The purchase for emergency vehicles, Inc., is this for a singular specialized vehicle, or is this for a number of police vehicles? That would be item 4, number 1, that's being purchased out of asset forfeiture.
Right, vehicles, a number of.
Okay, because I'm perplexed. I thought the asset forfeiture money was for a mobile command vehicle, and that we were buying $500,000 of SUVs out of the general. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. It is. It's for a mobile command vehicle. That's understood.
Only.
And so that's coming out of asset forfeiture. It's not coming out of the general fund. I'm just confirming.
Just that one vehicle, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, A1, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no reports from the city attorney's office.
CM1, Mr. City Manager.
No comments from the city manager's office.
CC1, Madam City Clerk.
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Very sharp today. CT1, Madam City Treasurer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to
So
give a,
good to have you back.
what's that again?
Good to have you back.
Thank you. I would like to just give a brief report regarding the investment portfolio. These are bonds that I have purchased. And these are basically GSEs. They're government-sponsored enterprises, basically created by Congress. So they're not backed by the federal government, but they're sound. And the bonds that have been purchased have been $33 million. That's the cost basis. The actual market value of those is $53,820. But these bonds, of course, will be held until maturity. Therefore, we will get our full $33 million back, plus accrued interest. And the CDs that have been purchased is currently $7,750,000. And the current market value of these CDs is $7,529,573. Again, these are 5-year CDs, and we will get our full $7,750,000 plus the accrued interest. And the average interest on these CDs is 2.13 interest. So the total of the CDs plus the GSEs is $40,750,000. And currently, the 2-year bonds are at 2.64. A year ago, it was 1.38, a 91% change. The 5-year, 2.83. A year ago, 1.89, a 49.7% change. And the 30-year is 3.1. Currently, 2.84. A year ago, 9.15. And as of July 23rd, 2018, national debt is $21.26 trillion. And our President Trump has contributed his share, which is $1.3 trillion. And I'd like to mention also that the investors are finding it harder to buy and sell bonds. Prolonged slump in liquidity has rattled the global bond market. Liquidity is basically a measure of the capacity to trade securities without significantly affecting price. Many bonds around the globe are becoming harder to trade, prompting some investors to shift to other markets, raising concerns about the bond decline in liquidity. So trading in some derivatives has picked up as traders pull back from bond market they view as increasingly unruly and expensive. And lastly, Mayor, I would like for you to close the council meeting. My deputy, Deborah Crenshaw, her mom passed, Barbara Jones, and her services will be tomorrow. And also, while I was out of town also, Commissioner Michael Bimbo's wife, Lillian Bimbo, passed. Her service was today. And also, I learned also, I got a call yesterday from Felicia Ford. Her father passed, Frank Wilson. So if you would close the council meetings in Barbara Jones' name, Frank Wilson, and Lillian Bimbo, would appreciate that. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. No appointments to boards and commission. Public comment. Any persons wishing to address the council on any matter not elsewhere. Well, before we have public comment, I wanted Captain DiBernardo, if you take the podium, Mayor, and just give a description of the mobile command post that's being purchased with asset forfeiture money, not general fund monies.
Yes, what it looks like, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I mean, its functionality, why it was necessary, what happened to our old one.
So yes, we currently do have an old one. It is over 20 years old. It has some issues with the wear and tear on the vehicle itself. It has some brake problems, and it's not in compliance with the National Incident Management System as far as
I'll have
the
you know I
technology.
bought that vehicle when I was here.
Yes, I know you did.
All right, go ahead.
And when you bought it, it was new and beautiful, and currently it's just a little bit aged. So we are just asking to buy a new one, to purchase it and upgrade the technology inside of it. And it's 20 years old, yes.
Okay, and could you just talk about some of the features?
Yes, inside of it, it has abilities to communicate with the people that we're talking to. It has radio capability. It has technology where we can type our reports and communicate with communications with all the issues that we need.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And it also will serve as a centralized communications vehicle for the LA RICS program and for our Area G command posts when we involve multiple agencies, and that was one of the greatest functionalities.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Public comment. Any persons wish to address City Council on any, oh, excuse me. That's right, we changed this up. Council remarks. Any members of the council that have comments at this time? Okay. Purpose of doing this. Go ahead, Councilman Dodson.
Okay. I want to say thanks to Angela Williams and Melissa Sanford for their assistance in getting a grant for recycling receptacles, and Mr. Jones and manager Gina Marquez. I was able to go over and see these new recycle bins, and it's really going to make a difference in the cleanness of that community. Last Wednesday, I went with Mr. Patterson and members of the Southwest Region Council of Carpenters, and they donated food to St. Margaret's Center for their food pantry. And I tell you, that was quite a deal. I don't know if they have a picture of me trying to lift one of those containers, but I did get it done. It wasn't that easy. There I go. It was, that thing was heavy. So anyway, I want to thank them for doing that. It just makes my heart sing when people who don't have to, they do service over and beyond what they need to do. I also had the occasion to go to one of our new businesses here in Inglewood, a Toast to Artistry, and most of you probably don't know what that is, but it's a new business on Locust, and it's called Sip and Paint. You could actually go in and sit down and have a little sip of whatever, water, wine, whatever, and make drawings. And it was really exciting for me to be there with these ladies, and they opened this business right there on Locust. So if I was you, I would go by and take a look-see and see if you can paint. Hopefully, later on this month, the mayor and I are going to be over there, and you can come paint with us. So with that, thank you all very much for coming out. Have a great week.
Councilman Franklin, District 4.
I just want to comment. I want to thank Mrs. Melanie McDade and Mr. Hardy Fields personally for notifying me. District 4 on Imperial and Prairie had a fire that took place on our vacant lot. The cause is still unknown, but however, it required not one, but 3 fire engines, and thank you very much for the county firefighters and fire department for their quick assistance, as they also had 12 to 15 firefighters to extract that fire before it got out of hand, because it was heavy. It was definitely windy around about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and the embers could easily have gone from west to east onto a number of businesses and homes in the surrounding area. But they jumped on it right away, and it was a quick response. And again, I was thank the city manager and Ms. McDade for notifying me promptly so I could go out there and survey the area as well. And other than that, everyone have a great day.
Councilman Morales, District 3.
Likewise, I do want to just touch base on some of the things that were happening and how responsive staff is. You know, we don't get an opportunity to thank them as much as we should. And in addition to that fire, there was a sinkhole, I believe, on Sentinel and Florence, which everybody reacted just quickly. I know Public Works, we constantly call them and expect them to fix everything so quickly. But thank you, Mr. City Manager, for getting us the information quickly and so we could communicate with the residents. So other than that, Mayor, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you.
Thank you. There was a ceremony to inter the remains of a sailor who died in the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. And his remains had remained unidentified for 77 years. And the family offered DNA and identified him. And we had a ceremony in Inglewood Park Cemetery that was extremely gracious and historic. There were members of the Navy, a Rear Admiral, Captain. Services were done by a local area minister, and it was really something to see. I am so proud of where the city has come to. Born in Kansas. His name is Gibson, and his final resting place will be here in the city of Inglewood. I want to close the meeting in the name of Mr. Ronald Lewis, in the name of Ms. Barbara Jones, the mother of finance employee Debbie Crenshaw, in the name of Frank Wilson, the father of Felicia Ford, finally in the name of Mrs. Lillian Bimbo, wife of Parking and Traffic Commissioner Mr. Michael Bimbo. There are a number of us there for her services this morning.
Comments,
excuse me, we're not adjourned. Any persons wishing to address the council on any item, any item not covered on the agenda may do so at this time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor and City Council. 2 weeks ago, I stood here and I expressed a concern and a pain point as a small business owner, and I want to thank the mayor's office and Ms. McDade for immediately addressing it and coming to a swift and wonderful resolution that will serve the business owners there in the Market Street District. And again, I want to say thank you publicly as I brought the problem publicly. And I also want to thank you for observing the service for the naval veteran, because being a naval veteran, I think it's a personal salute to you and the city for doing that. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. In light of the occasional technical difficulties, I guess I have to start bringing my camera again. I'm hoping that your moving public comments wasn't so that you can simply eliminate them, because that will not be allowed. You can try it. That's kind of like standard up, trying to see what we can do or not do, it seems, in this room. I was made aware that I should remind someone that this time when the budget quarterly report is presented, that perhaps, in this other person's words, you might want to include some real numbers instead of pie charts and bars. So there are people paying attention, and we would like to see actual numbers for our budget in the future.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and staff. My comments are on the mobilization unit for the police department. It's a good purchase. The old one was definitely antiquated, and like our old equipment here in City Hall, we needed to update it, and it's a good thing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. And when that old one possibly comes back into use, could we take it to Lake Havasu? Because I need to go fishing, if it's okay with you, Mayor. We could all go fishing in it, of course. All right? And everyone have a beautiful week, and God bless you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, staff, members, and viewers. My name is Curtis Mitchell. I live in District 1, and I represent the Healthy Senior Citizens Life Association. It's about 600 seniors that we bring education to about the things that's going on in our city on a slower pace for them. For example, the AB 987 bill, that's the project that they're doing over here at the Clippers Arena. This project represents a multi-billion-dollar investment for our community, and it is also going to be a chance for us to have a brand-new facility for our youth. I don't have much time to say this now, Mayor, and the community, but I want everyone, please, look up AB 987. It will benefit this community in ways that we could never, ever, ever dream of. And it's not about the money now, but it's about our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Mellon. I'm a resident, and I maintain a medical practice in the city of Inglewood for about 26 years. I'm a property owner in the area surrounding the old Daniel Freeman Hospital. I've seen the growth of the city. I'm very proud, and however, I've seen issues that I think need updating to keep up with the progress of the city, especially in areas surrounding what used to be Daniel Freeman Hospital. These include the zoning restrictions and also the parking restrictions that were clearly placed for the sole benefit of Daniel Freeman Hospital. Since it is no longer there, I would like to hope that the City Council would look favorably upon updating some of these zoning and parking restrictions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. Mayor, I want to congratulate you on what you did for the Navy. That really touched me. And it looks like we may have soldiers coming back from Korea, 1950, 51, during the time I was in Korea.
About 13 more.
And I hope and pray that these soldiers come back here. And you know, I just can't say I feel it in my heart. I hope these boys come home. Thank you, and I hope you think about the Army when they start coming in.
Absolutely.
And I do believe they're coming. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we'll close public comment. Once again, we're adjourning the meeting in memory of Mr. Ronald Lewis, Ms. Barbara Jones, Deborah Crenshaw's mother, Mr. Frank Wilson, the father of Felicia Ford, in the name of Mrs. Lillian Bimbo, the wife of Parking and Traffic Commissioner, Mr. Michael Bimbo. And we're adjourned.